Welcome back to Maintenance Break. I'm Pete.
And I'm Drew. We're your coffee break companions for all things maintenance, reliability, and asset management.
Now, Drew, have you ever noticed how a component seems to vanish into thin air the second it leaves the site gate? It's like it goes into a witness protection program.
Too right, Pete. It's the off-site black hole. You send a gearbox or a wheel noter away, and suddenly no one knows where it's at, when it's coming back, or heaven forbid, how much it's actually going to cost until the invoice lands like a lead balloon on the manager's desk.
It can be a massive issue if not handled correctly, and a process that can waste millions if left to run on autopilot. So today, we're breaking down the off-site repair process using the JEBS PCR Triad: performance, cost, and risk, focusing in on the key issues we see.
Spot on, because if you don't have visibility, you don't have control. Let's start with performance.
Right. In this context, performance isn't just about the machine's output. It's about the process performance. If you've got poor inventory management, you have no idea what your lead times are. And if you don't know when that spare engine is coming back, your component replacement schedule is basically just guessing.
Exactly. You end up with unknown repair lead times that wreck your planning. You're holding onto assets longer than you should, or worse, you're forced into reactive mode as the component rebuild you were relying on wasn't ready for your schedule.
And what are the common shortcomings of an off-site repair process on cost?
This is where the budget goes out the window. You get these unexpected high costs because the scope wasn't managed, or the flow-on effect of reactively chasing a new component as your rebuild is not ready when you plan to need it. It's financial leakage, plain and simple. If you aren't looking at the why behind the bill, you're just a passenger, which brings us to risk.
This is the one that keeps reliability engineers awake at night: inconsistent component life. When a rebuilt component fails before its expected life, that's a massive risk to operational stability and impacts asset reliability.
It really is. It's the near enough is never good enough trap. If you don't have a standard, the vendor will give you their version of repaired, which might not be your version of reliable.
So, how do we fix it? We start with inventory management. Drew, you've seen this 1,000 times. What's the biggest bottleneck?
Communication silos, hands down. In large operations, the warehouse doesn't talk to the planners, and the planners don't talk to the vendors. You need a single point of contact for vendors and maintenance teams.
Absolutely. A clear WIP, work in progress, reporting process is non-negotiable. You need to know the scope, the cost, and the status at every stage. No more, I'll call them next Tuesday to see how it's going.
Yeah, hope is not a management strategy, Pete. And while we're on the subject of coordination, let's talk about reducing cost wastage. There are two gold mines here: scope approval and warranty management.
Warranty management is huge. I'd bet my last dollar that many operators are paying twice for the same repair.
Exactly. They don't flag the component's life details before the vendor strips it down. If that transmission only did 5,000 hours and it should have done 15,000, why are you paying for a full rebuild?
You've got to be boots on the ground with this. Every component should go through a strip, assess, quote, and approve process. You don't just give them a blank check. You verify before the work starts.
And to keep those costs down and the quality up, you need quality control. This is where we mitigate the risk.
And we do that with standardized repair scopes. You set the expectation with the vendor on exactly what parts must be replaced and what can be inspected and reused. It prevents that vendor drift where they start taking shortcuts to save their margin or give you the best price while ruining your reliability.
Vendor drift, I like that. It's like a slow motion car crash for your NTBF. And you've got to back that up with annual vendor audits.
Spot on. Audits add that layer of professionalism. It shows the vendor that you don't just set a process and walk away. You verify it. If they know you're coming to look at their workshop and their quality records, they tend to lift their game.
It's about operational stability, Pete. Transitioning from these fragmented she'll be right procedures to a standardized framework isn't just about saving a few bucks this quarter. It's about making sure that when you put a component in, it stays there for the expected life.
100%. Let's boil this down for the crew. If your off-site process is a mess, these are the items to look out for. You don't trust the outage schedule because you don't know if the components will be there or not. Your costs are through the roof because you don't know what your rebuild costs are until the bill lands, or you're not claiming warranty, and your rebuilt components aren't making life.
It's a cycle, but it's one you can break.
All right, let's wrap this up with the break tip.
This week, pick your top 5 most expensive off-site repairable items. Go back through the last 2 years of records and check if any of them failed early. If they did, find out if a warranty claim was ever lodged. You might just find there is an opportunity to close the gap and save hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future.
Get hunting, team. Thanks for joining us for this maintenance break. If this helped you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a mate, as this really helps us grow our impact.
And if you've got a topic or case study you want to hear us talk about on the show, drop us a line.
Until next time, take care.
And keep those assets running.